Welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton, and welcome to another Opposition View show. We're looking ahead to our home game against West Ham United in the Premier League on Saturday. It's the early kick-off, and to discuss all things West Ham, we've got Geo Mackie here, who's kindly joined us from all the way in Aberdeen, but he's from the Hammers chat, and he's going to give us some insight into how things are going in East London and in Grampian as well, and tell us what we can expect from the Irons on Saturday. So without further ado, we always start with how the season's been so far. 3 wins, 3 draws, 2 losses. Very much middle of the road stuff. You're 8th at the moment. Do you think that's a good reflection of how West Ham have performed so far this year?
Yeah, I think a couple of games we've got more than we deserved, perhaps. Just because of the quality we've got in the team, I guess, just made it count when it mattered. I think the last game against Crystal Palace was sort of the big one in a way, because a win would have put us into the top 4 going into the international break, and everything would have looked fantastic. But we lost, and it was a slap of reality. It could be a good thing or a bad thing. If it motivates the players and drives them on, it's a good thing. But if it knocks morale and confidence, it's a bad thing. And we're only going to find out at Goodison Park.
Well, of course, you did beat Man United a few weeks ago. I mean, that's maybe not the accolade it was a while ago, but like you say, maybe that went to your head in the build-up to, though you've had a draw with Bournemouth, and then you got beat off Palace, of course, last time out. So maybe it's gone to your head, do you think? Maybe that win over United, or...
We've always just been inconsistent. I don't think it's gone to the heads as such. I think we put in enough effort and stuff. I just think Pellegrini got outdone by Hodgson on the day, believe it or not. I think Pellegrini's quite a stubborn manager, and he's stuck to what he likes and what he wants to do. And when it wasn't working, instead of changing the tactics, he changed personnel, but he kept the same setup and stuff. Hodgson tweaked his setup, and it completely changed the game in Crystal Palace's favour when it mattered. So I wouldn't say it got to their heads yet. It's just same old West Ham, unfortunately. And it's another week. We think, when are we going to break this rut of win 1, draw 1, lose 1, and actually we win 1, draw 2, or something like that, just to get a few extra bonus points on the board, which could be massive in May.
Trust me, mate, I would very happily take win 1, draw 1, lose 1 right now, mate. We have lost the last 4 games. We were expected to be in a battle with the likes of yourselves again this year, maybe trying to break into that top 6, but so far the season has started absolutely disastrously for us. What have you made of Everton so far from the outside looking in?
I think the problem, whenever I watch Everton, I watched a lot of them last season. I haven't seen as much of them this season yet. I don't know why. Maybe you're not on TV as much or something. But I don't get why you still have Calvert-Lewin as a striker. Like, I think he's hard-working, and I think he's a proper Everton player and stuff. He's just not good enough. Whenever I watch you, I think, how can you have so much ability in that attacking midfield position, so much flair and creativity among them, but yet you're not scoring goals? And I just look at the striker and I think, well, that's not a striker that's going to worry any back four in the Premier League. You're going to come to play Everton and see Calvert-Lewin and think, good, I'd rather him than someone else and stuff. I don't know, it's a strange one, because I expected you to be competing with us, and I think when I look at where you are in the league, it's not a true reflection at all of the quality you have in your team. It's maybe a reflection of your manager. There's a lot of talk of him, obviously. I've always been lukewarm with him. I think he's a good manager, but I think for Everton to progress, you need a quality one. Leicester got a quality one. I think West Ham got a quality one. But I don't think Everton do. And I think that's maybe part of the problem.
That's a really good point. What you say about Pellegrini maybe being stubborn, well, Marco Silva's even more stubborn.
Yeah.
And if it's been holding you back at all this season, it's really held us back, because Everton fans are absolutely pig sick of seeing the same formation every week. It's 4-2-3-1 in case you're not already aware. But if you're not already aware, you will be come Saturday lunchtime. Literally, I'm pretty sure Manuel Pellegrini's aware, and he'll be coaching your players on the training ground this week to be ready for a 4-2-3-1. And that is literally all you need to do. If you coach your team and get yourselves ready to play against a 4-2-3-1, because we know Marco Silva's going to do it, if you have that setup ready to try and nullify a 4-2-3-1 and you go into the game, you've already got yourself at least a draw against us, I think.
we'll be coming with a 4-2-3-1 as well. Pellegrini is the same. He will play 4-2-3-1 on Saturday as well. So both teams are going to be setting up exactly the same in terms of formation. Then it comes down to sort of which manager coached them better in terms of defensive setup, set pieces and stuff. Maybe quality and form all then come into it. Because when we played Bournemouth a few weeks ago, again, both teams were sort of 4-2-3-1. It was just end to end. It was a really, really good game of football to watch. And it was just a case of who's going to take their chances. And I think it'll be a bit like that on Saturday, actually. Going into it, I'm not confident, but I'm not fearful. I'm quite confident we are going to score, but I'm not that confident we're going to win for some reason, which, given the form, you'd probably expect me to be optimistic at the very least.
Well, most certainly. The next question I was going to ask you, of course, Everton's striker pursuit's going to rumble on for another season, it seems, post-Romelu Lukaku, because we're still struggling up front. We're still having to use Calvert-Lewin. We signed Moise Kean, who hasn't really settled in as well as we'd have liked him to. I was really, really disappointed this summer that we never at least tried to go toe-to-toe with you to sign Sebastian Haller, who, of course, he did end up going to West Ham in the summer. He's already got a couple of goals for you. How do you think he's settled in at West Ham?
He's class. He's absolute class. Anyone that's into European football knows of him before he came to West Ham. I've seen a few pundits say, "Oh, they bought a striker no one knows about," but actually, everyone knew about him. He was class at Frankfurt, and you would think he was at West Ham last season, given how well he settled in. He doesn't look like a new player. He's got partnerships going with all the attacking midfielders. He's linking up really well with them, and I think Haller is one of those strikers that you cannot judge by goals scored come the end of the season, because the goals he sets up, his build-up plays, so instrumental to the way we play. Like when we played Bournemouth away, our first goal, the assist was arguably better than the actual goal, and that was Haller that did the assist. He plucked out of thin air, brought it down, laid off Yarmolenko, and said, "There you go, do your stuff." He's just a fantastic striker. He's the type of player that if you put him into Everton, he'd be worth points, plural, to Everton over the course of a season just because of the way he plays. And to be fair, I thought Keane was a good signing for you in the summer. When you signed him, I thought, I wouldn't have minded him at West Ham. And you say he hasn't settled in, but he doesn't seem to. I don't know as much as you, obviously, but he doesn't seem to have had much of a chance by Silva. It's almost like you've got a game. After an hour, right, off you come, and you're not starting the next game. You've just got to put him in and just leave him in, I think. I think Calvert-Lewin's had years to prove his chance. He's had years to stamp that striker role, and he's not taking it because, like I said, I just don't think he's good enough. He's good enough to be at Everton, be a squad player. But the fact you've had to go get a striker means that you don't have confidence in Calvert-Lewin. So why are you still playing him? Why have you gone and got a replacement for him but stuck with what you already know? Throw Keane in and just leave him and give him a run of games, because he's got the talent. You don't play for Juventus and score all them goals if you're not good enough. I think he's someone that you're wasting a little bit, actually.
To be honest, I think I do understand why Calvert-Lewin's getting the nod, because in fairness, his actual goal-scoring form's improved recently. In fact, he's one of the few players who's actually in decent goal-scoring form for us. And I think the fact that Keane hasn't scored yet and we are desperate for goals, we're going to keep the striker who's scoring in. I think that's literally what swings it at the moment. But Moise Keane's disappointing me a little bit, I'll be honest with you. I think when I see players like Haller at West Ham, who is holding the ball up really well, and you think, like you say, I think he'd be a perfect fit for our attack, but yet we've gone for Moise Keane, who doesn't seem to be doing the link up. He may well be a better goal scorer than Haller, but he isn't linking up with the midfielders behind him, or the midfielders aren't maybe sort of getting to grips with how he plays as well. So I think that is the real issue for us right now, is that there's a bit of disarray between that front four.
Yeah, well, we've had that issue for West Ham for years. We've shoehorned Marko Anavic up front for a while in order to sort of fulfill it. We've spent the money, we've got the player in, and maybe I'm being harsh on Calvert-Lewin, but whenever I go to watch Everton on the TV and I see Calvert-Lewin starting, I just think, don't really fancy Everton anymore. If I'm having a little bet or something, I'll wait for the lineups, because I just think it's criminal that you've got Sigurdsson. Richarlison's one of my favourite non-West Ham players in the league. I really rate him. I think maybe you put him up front then if you're struggling, because he does score goals. Richarlison, he's not been on form this season. I've seen him miss a good few chances, but I think he's been unlucky quite a few times as well. but he will come good because you know he can do it. And you've got a player there on your hands that's good enough for a top 6 club, I think. But again, he's just not shining for some reason this season.
I think there's plenty of issues at the moment. Like I say, West Ham and Everton were meant to be sort of fighting it out in the same sort of position in the league, maybe trying to break the top 6. Of course, you look far better placed to do it right now. What do you think the chances are of a non-top 6 team breaking into those positions this year?
Someone's going to do it. Man United are not getting in the top 6, are they? I'd be surprised if come May Man United have got in there because they're just a mess. It's not just the manager. The players aren't good enough. The players don't want to be. The players that are good enough don't want to be there. The whole Man United thing's really changed. Unfortunately for both of us, Leicester City look primed for taking that spot. But the question is, can anyone take advantage of any other slip-ups? Because there's a mess at Spurs at the minute. Arsenal, although they've got quality all over the pitch, just look like they're missing something, whether it's a spine or something. I don't know. There's just something strange at Arsenal. Chelsea are looking good on the Lampard, but how long is that going to continue for? They're still in their honeymoon period, but he's doing well, so you have to assume he'll finish up there. But one team's getting in the top 6, in my opinion, mate. And I expected us, yourselves, Leicester, in Bournemouth. Actually, I thought Bournemouth would be up with us as well, competing. I think Wolves would get distracted by European football. So I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed to see Everton struggling so early in the season.
I think a lot of our fans are very disheartened for that reason because we know that Man United are a mess. We know there's other teams who are maybe in a transition period and we could have took advantage of that. And I think that's the real disappointment for us. But like I say, there's plenty of time left in the season to turn things around. So we've just got to wait and see what happens. Where do you think West Ham will finish?
8th. I'm quite a pessimistic person, though. I try not to get my hopes up. I've been saying, we did a video on our channel this week because it was international break. You're trying to explore different topics, don't you? And I was saying, well, it's about time we have to go for the top 6 because if come May, Man U's not in there and someone else says, I'll be disappointed. I will think, why are we not in there? Because
precisely
because you've spent so much money. We've had them move to the London Stadium as well to compete, to try and get into the top 6. So if Man United are going to throw it away, then and we don't get in, then you've got to justify the move to the London Stadium at some point. And this is now the 4th season. So when are we going to justify if it's not this year? We've got arguably one of the best strikers in the league up front, in my opinion. And we've got talent in behind him. Our midfield, it's okay. I think Rice is really good. I actually think Martin Noble's really good. I'm a big Martin Noble fan. But we do get overrun in there quite a lot. Our defences look shaky, but this season it's looked pretty strong. We've got a lot going for us. So if come May, Leicester or yourselves or Bournemouth in the top 6 and we're not, I will be disappointed. I'll say, hang on a minute, Pellegrini's getting paid £8 million a year. What's he doing to show for it? He's got to, you've got your manager thing. Now, I like Pellegrini. I hope he stays. But he's a well-paid manager, just spent a lot of money. And we've got to see a bit of bang for our buck, if you like. And
exactly, yeah.
It's the same with yourself. You spent loads of money over the years, and I think you're possibly one of the. This won't go down well with your viewers. I mean, they might, to be honest. I think you're one of the worst run clubs in the Premier League because the amount of money you just throw out there, and for what you've got on the pitch, I don't think you've had good value for your pound.
I'm not going to disagree with you at all on that, mate, because I think it's atrocious the way the club's been run for. Yeah. It's ironically since the billionaire took over.
Yeah.
Which we've been waiting for a good 10, 20 years for that to happen. And it finally comes along, and if anything, the club just has been thrown into disarray. I think it's hard to put your finger on what's going wrong. I think if we knew what was going wrong, we'd try and put it right, but no one can really pinpoint exactly what the main issue is.
I think it's too short term. When I look at Everton, I think you're too trying to get instant success almost. When you sign players like Sandro and Klaassen and all that, you thought, wow, they're bloody damn good players Everton are signing here. It just didn't work out. But you've had too many of them. It's not just one player. It's almost like 5, 6. You could probably come up with a decent 7-a-side squad of players that you've signed and then have to sell that just because they didn't work out at Everton. And it just shows it's down to sort of, is it poor scouting or is it poor recruitment? Probably, because when you look at clubs like ourselves and Leicester, who are maybe doing more astute signings, and don't get me wrong, Everton have made some damn good signings. You've got one of the best left backs in the Premier League, but I don't know. I just think there's something missing at Everton. I don't know if the money's been spent correctly. Just me.
I think it's as much of a coaching issue as anything, to be honest. I think we are signing some very good players, but it's about getting the best out of them. And like you say, maybe it's the issue of our manager's not as good as some of the other sides, like you say, yourselves, Leicester, even Bournemouth, sides who maybe have maybe not even players who aren't as good as ours, but much better coaches to get more out of them.
Yeah, I would go along with that to an extent as well. We've almost all got the managers you've just named have got an identity. Now I know Marco Silva's got one, but it's an identity that's not working,
Exactly.
unfortunately. So I don't know. I just think Marco Silva was an okay appointment at the time. But I do think this goes further back now. I think Koeman would have been a good manager for you if you just stuck with him, and he's doing all right with the Netherlands national squad now as well. He sort of rejuvenated them a little bit. But I just think now you need to go get a top manager. It's like you've basically gone and spent a load of money on all these tools, but you've gone and employed a really average joiner to use them, and it's not going to work, is it? He's still going to be average at the job, regardless of how good his tools are. So I just think you need to go get someone. You've got all this top ingredients there. Go get someone that can put them all together, and win.
Must say, Gio, that's actually a fantastic analogy you've just come up with there with the dodgy joiner and his tools. That's a really good shout, that.
It's true, though, because I look at Everton. If I was to do a combined West Ham and Everton 11, if you like, it'd probably be half and half. Like, it doesn't represent where we are in the league at the minute, though, because your left back would walk in, but Charlison would walk in, and I've always been a big fan of Sigurdsson. I think he's not started the season great this season. He's getting on a little bit, but in terms of consistent performers in the Premier League over the last 5-6 years, he's up there. You've got all these really good players, but it's just not working. We spoke about Man United a few weeks ago when Man United came to London Stadium. We just said, they don't have the fear factor anymore. You're almost losing that. Everton are almost starting to lose their fear factor. You had it. We used to go play Everton. I think, I know that Charlison's going to absolutely slaughter the left back, or he's playing on the left wing when he first arrived there. So Charlison's going to slaughter our right back. You've got Idrissa Gueye in there, who I don't think you've replaced, and I think he's a massive loss.
Well, we replaced him, but the player we replaced him with, Gabaman, it just turns out he's out for another 3 months. That's just come out today, so we're missing his replacement for more than half his first season.
Yeah, but will he replace Ghana? Because I thought, from what I know of him in the Bundesliga, he's more of a sort of like an all-round centre midfielder type player. Ghana was one of the best in the league at what he does, which is just sitting in front of your back four. And he was a very clever player as well. The amount of times I'd watch Everton and someone would be breaking, he would just take him out and take a booking for the team. It was just clever play. He was almost like a Pep Guardiola player in there for you. And you lose one of them, you're in trouble. And we're going to counter it when Declan Rice leaves us, which he will eventually. We're going to suffer the same problem. How do we replace him? Don't know. We'll find out when that happens. But I just think I don't think you've replaced Idrissa Gana Gueye yet.
I think, like you say, I think that is a big issue for both of our clubs. I think when the top sides come in and take your best players, and it seems like sometimes you're going back to square one at times.
But at the same time, I don't necessarily believe that, because I think if you've got your scouting down to a T, you can take one step back, 2 steps forward if you use the money wisely and you're ready to sell that player. It's like Marko Arnautovic. We saw Marko Arnautovic, and a lot of people probably thought, West Ham just lost one of their best players in the summer. Actually, no, we didn't. We upgraded Marko Arnautovic. Now, we did spend more money than we received for Marko, but our scouting was done. We knew exactly who we wanted to go get in the summer, and we went and got him and upgraded the player. And there's only a handful of players in that West Ham. Actually, Declan Rice is the only West Ham player that I would worry we sold. We could sell anyone else in that West Ham team tomorrow, and I'd be confident we will go get a very good replacement for him, because I believe in Pellegrini's right-hand man, Usalos, who's sort of redone how West Ham go about things in the transfer market, getting in younger players, higher transfer fees and stuff. I would have confidence in them going out and securing a very good replacement. And I just think Everton, you never know. Your replacement for Ghana might turn out to be really, really astute, but I don't know. I just believe that if you use the money wisely, you can actually progress despite who you sell. Simple as that.
Well, I think we have seen examples of that in the past. It's just like you say. I think Everton has been so atrociously run for the last couple of years that we've never really replaced key players very well. We've brought in some very good players, but when we've lost a linchpin like Lukaku, like Idrissa Gueye, we may well have replaced Idrissa Gueye, but we've replaced him with someone who's going to spend the first half of his first season in England injured. So we're not going to see him till the new year, it seems.
No, I get that though, but the prime example is actually Leicester, our sort of league table rivals, if you like. If you go look at them, they sold Kante and Mahrez, but they invested the money. It didn't work at the start, but now you're really starting to see the benefits of them reinvesting that money wisely with Pereira, Maddison, and Didi. All those players have gone and signed are now sort of top players in their position in the Premier League because they just invested wisely. They had a long-term plan. I think that's what Everton are lacking. That's why I said I think you're a bit too short-term. Leicester invested for next season, if you like. And I think Everton need a little bit of that. I think you've got it in some positions, but, Seamus Coleman's not getting any younger, is he? You almost need a replacement for him at some point.
He definitely has to go. He was sent off for the second time in as many games when he played for Ireland last night. So he is really starting to lag behind. But I think a real issue for Everton is, and this is no slight on West Ham or Leicester, is that West Ham have never won the league. No. Leicester City only won the league for the very first time in that shock season a few years ago. Everton have 9 titles, and perhaps I think Everton's weighed down by an extra bit of pressure because of what we once were and the success we had before, and maybe the fans expect that, and that puts a bit more pressure on the players to maybe succeed in the short term, whereas West Ham, Everton, when we had no money, had no choice but to have a long-term plan, and I think that's why we were better before the money come in. As soon as this money come in, Everton fans were going, yeah, we've got to buy everyone and we've got to go and win this right now. And I think it's obviously you want to have won, you want to have history like that, but I think the fact that you haven't won a title and you haven't won anything for quite some time now, I think maybe that pressure's gone off West Ham a little bit. Maybe to
but we moved stadium. So the pressure's almost there immediately, saying, right, well, we're moving to progress, and we got quoted. The quote West Ham fans always use is, we got told we're going to the next level. So fans always used to say, well, where is it then? When are we going to the next level? Because this is what we were doing at Upton Park. We haven't progressed anything. So there's maybe a different type of pressure, but there was certainly pressure at West Ham. It's eased off now because with Pellegrini, when we had Moyes, you've seen the pressure because fans were on the pitch. Fans were saying, hang on a minute, this is not right. You and the director's board are rubbish. Him in the dugout is rubbish. Where's the money? Where's the next level? You speak about history. They removed ours almost in order to go to the next level. So we almost need an instant reaction. We almost need an instant success as well. I think we can see, for the first time since Pellegrini's come in, we can see something. We can see what they're trying to do. We can see what Pellegrini's trying to do. It's just a pity we don't have unlimited funds. If we had a billionaire owner, I think we'd be good, but we just, for whatever, we're trying to be sustainable to an extent. And we're sort of limited in the transfer market. We could go sign 3 Sebastian Allers in the summer. Then we might be getting in the top 8. We just can't do that yet. So we've got to be patient. I think maybe that's what you guys need to do. I think you guys need to be patient, but only once you get the next manager in, and it has to be the right manager. It has to be the right one.
I think the issue also, I think one thing that West Ham, obviously, you're in London, there's 5, 6, 7 Premiership teams. Leicester are a one-club city pretty much. I think both of you guys are probably blessed in the fact that you haven't got one of the best teams in the country literally across the street from you, which is really, I think, as much as I say Everton are weighed down by their own history, I think they're also weighed down by the pressure to maybe compete with the neighbours as well, because they're doing so well and we're basically lagging behind. And we would believe that we would be able to sort of get back to the top the way they have in the last 5 years, and it hasn't come to pass, and that's why fans are angry and getting very impatient.
Yeah, because what's the point of football, though, if you don't have some sort of success? Myself and Gonzo from Hampshire, we get angry about no cups. We just don't do anything in the cups. We got put out by Oxford United. We think, well, what's the point? What's the point in football? I'd rather finish 15th and win a cup than finish 7th with no cup, for example.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because that's what it's all about. So we get frustrated with that, and I think Everton's a bit the same. I think you guys need a domestic cup, whether it's the League Cup or the FA Cup. I don't think it really matters as long as you get some sort of silverware, or something to cling on to, something to build on for the next season or the next few months or something. Because at the minute, I think you're just lacking that. I don't think you've got any vision at the minute as a fan base. How can you see what the plan is when it's not working on the football pitch? You know, you can go spend 35 million on a Juventus striker, but your manager is the most important signing you'll make, and I think you got it wrong when you got Marco Silva, and you've got to get this appointment right. I think it's inevitable you're going to be in the market for a new manager very shortly. I think that's inevitable.
Definitely by the end of the year, for sure.
Yeah. So you've got to get the next one has to be perfect for Everton. Otherwise, it's going to be a repeat, and it's the same for every club. Rinse and repeat, because football is a short-term thing. And someone needs to buck the trend. Us, Leicester, Bournemouth are bucking the trend. Someone needs to buck the trend and get a manager in for years and say, right, on you go. You've got years. Go do something. And your next signing is huge.
I think that was the aim. We were going to try and give Marco Silva the chance to do that, but he's thrown it back in our faces pretty much by persisting, really, with this failing tactic. And he's trying to persist, like I say, with his own system and get it to work, but it's not working. So what do you do?
Yeah, it must be very frustrating for your fans, because you've got so much talent there. I think if you were to make like a non-top 6 team, you'd have the left back. Your left back would be in there. Dickney would be in there. You'd probably have Richarlison in there, and you've got plenty of other players that are being contention for being in it as well. You've got so much talent. Like I said, you just got an average joiner, I'm afraid.
I think that is the issue. I think onto the matter at hand, of course. Now, what lineup and formation can we expect from West Ham this weekend?
Well, we're very predictable now because we're playing quite well this season. It's always 4-2-3-1 under Pellegrini. He changed a little bit last season because of personnel available and such like, but we will play 4-2-3-1. You do have your glimmer of hope this weekend is our goalkeeper. Fabianski's out for 3 months, okay? And I think Fabianski's one of the best keepers in the league. He's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's very good.
He is worth so much points to us this season. I don't know if your viewers like stats, but our expected goals conceded last season was 10 more than it actually was because of Fabianski. Kept out 10 goals that he shouldn't have last season, essentially. So our keeper, Roberto.
Oh, you signed him from Espanyol, didn't you?
Yeah, the fan base are not convinced. I
wasn't when I saw the 4-0 against Oxford.
Personally, I really don't rate him. I think he's awful. I think we've gone from having one of the top 3 goalkeepers in the league. Okay, we've got Alisson and Ederson who are a bit above everyone else, I think. But I do think Fabianski's not far behind them to one of the bottom 3 goalkeepers in the league for the weekend, if you like. I think Roberto's down there. If you put in your crosses, one of Everton's strengths, in my opinion, are crossing the ball. You've got fantastic crosses on the wings. But Richarlison's superb in the air. I think Calvert-Lewin's all right in the air, actually. I'll give him that.
He's a very good header of the ball.
Yeah, so I think as much as I don't like him, he is good in the air. But Richarlison's superb in the air. Sigurdsson's really good in the air for such like a technical number 10 kind of guy. He's strong in there. If you get your crosses in, our keeper won't come for them. He will not come off his line. He will not leave his 6-yard box. So if you can really bombard our area with crosses from wide positions, you'll score at least one. You'll score at least one header against us. That's by far our weak point. Our back four will keep Ogbonna and Diop centre-backs. They've been doing well this season. Fredericks at right back. He's settling in. I was a bit suspicious with him stepping up from the Championship. He's settling in, starting to show that maybe he is a Premier League right back. Left back, I expect Creswell, but it might be Masuaku. That's the only position I'm not really sure on, but I think it'll be Creswell. You will have Rice and Noble in midfield. 100%. You have Felipe Anderson on the left, Lanzini in the number 10 role, and then you have Yarmolenko, who you guys tried to buy, didn't buy, and scored 2 against you last season. Because in part, he'll be starting on the right, and then we've got Sebastian Aller up front. Pellegrini is predictable, as much as Marco Silva is. I'm pretty certain that's the 11. I would be surprised that's not our starting 11.
Like I say, I think the fact that you're predictably solid is better than be predictably chaotic like we've been.
Yeah. I mean, consistency of team lineups is something we never had last season. Our first few games under Pellegrini, we had a different centre-back pairing every game. And you thought, how's this going to work? Because Fabianski's got different defenders in front of him every game. We're leaking goals. And then we finally settled on Balbuena and Diop. Then we kept switching our fullbacks. Zabaleta, Fredericks, Creswell, Masviaki, they kept switching. We thought, we need some sort of consistent back line in order to get familiar with each other. We've got that this season, and we're starting to see the benefits of it, actually. So, yeah, that's how Pellegrini is set up. But the question is, can you counter that? Roy Hodgson did, but Ole Gunnar Solskjaer didn't.
Unfortunately, I think we've got more of a Solskjaer than a Hodgson in our dugout, which is the issue. So, your prediction for the game?
I've struggled with this one because I like Everton. I think you've got so much good players in that attacking midfield position. I was never convinced by Iwobi, but since I've seen him at Everton, he's growing on me, actually, I must say. I think he's sort of...
I will say he's been one of our better signings.
He's direct. He gets the ball. He's looking to do something. I think sometimes Bernard can be maybe slow on the ball. Sometimes
meanders a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, he gets the ball and he sort of takes his time a little bit. I think Iwobi gets and thinks, right, what we're going to do now. And I'd rather see Bernard start than Iwobi, for example. I'm going to say, I don't think we'll get beat. I think both teams will score. I'm going to say 1-1. I'll go for 1-1. Because if we beat Palace, I'd be sitting here saying 3-1 again. I think we'll smash you. But we did it, and after what I've seen against Palace, which was, this is harsh on Hodgson, but he's a dinosaur. He's a guy. The guy is so old, but he was able to tactically out. He is. I can't stand Roy Hodgson as a manager, and I just think his tactics are somewhat vanilla almost. But he was able to get one over on Pellegrini, and I was disappointed by that. It was 1-1. At the time, it was 1-1. We were doing like for like. So we had a striker on the bench. I was standing there watching the game going, get another striker on and go for 3 points. But he didn't do it. And it felt a bit David Moyes. It felt like I was like in a David Moyes world again. We've seen that often with Moyes and I didn't like it. So that's put me off a little bit. I'm going to go for 1-1. You've got to start getting points at some stage, haven't you? With that team, the international break didn't go well for you. Coleman gets sent off. Keane got sent off. Sigurdsson missed a pen. Someone else did something I've seen.
Yeah. Well, Cenk Tosun's been getting slated on social media because he saluted the Turkish army who've been killing Kurds as well, which has not gone down well with our fans.
Yeah, so your players haven't had a good international break away from Everton, but sometimes I hate the term wounded animal, but you are a bit of a wounded animal. Silva's a wounded animal.
That's definitely the case.
You've got two options. You're either going to collapse and we're going to stroll out and eat winners, or you're going to come out fighting, and it's going to be a tough game. So I think it's going to be the latter. I don't know why. I think I'm just going to go for 1-1. I'm going to sit on the fence for this one.
Unfortunately, I think it's going to be the first, and I'm going to say you're going to beat us 4-1.
Crikey. I hope so. Sebastian Aller, it's time for him to step up. I think him and Yarmolenko are the two players. Yarmolenko's in fine form. Like, he's in really good form at the minute, even when he's not scored. Do you know how I said Iwobi's direct? Yarmolenko's direct. He gets the ball, he's looking to shoot. If you don't keep an eye on him, you're in trouble. He's our game winner. Anderson, Lanzini, you can keep them quiet. Roy Hodgson just showed that. He marked them out of the game. Yarmolenko, can't keep him quiet. He's too good. He's too clever. You don't watch him, he'll punish you.
Yeah, so like I say, I think I'm going to go for a heavy defeat, and I'm hoping it's bittersweet because I'm hoping it'll be the heavy defeat that gets Silva his P45.
Yeah, It's going to happen eventually. It's going to
Why
happen
not?
eventually.
Why not sooner rather than later?
Yeah, we're quite. Who do you want as your next manager? Just before we go.
Ooh. Well, there's been a few names thrown around. I think the obvious one, I think if he's still lying about, would be to throw everything at Jose Mourinho.
He would get in the top 6.
Probably.
He would. He would. He would get in the top 6.
I think the fans would happily, if with Mourinho, I think they'd suck up the maybe not as entertaining football if it meant it delivered the success. But after
you've not got entertaining football at the minute.
Well, that's true, yeah.
It'll just change. All that'll change is you'll start winning games instead of losing them. You won't be a pushover, which I think Everton are this season. They're a bit of a pushover. I watched you against Bournemouth. You missed a few chances. Then the last 15 minutes, you just collapsed. The Bournemouth were all over you. Villa away. I watched your game against Villa.
Same again.
You just got bullied. Wesley just... Keane and Mina may as well just lay down every time Wesley got the ball. He just bars them off the ball every single time. You just got bullied. Heads went down. You just had nothing. You were toothless. You had no danger. You were just a pushover. You got out-muscled. You got out-fought. You got out-battled. If you lost the first ball, you lost... every 50-50 you lost. And if you somehow won it, Villa got it off you within seconds after anyway. You just had nothing about you. Mourinho wouldn't accept that. I think, going back to what I said, you've got good players. We'd have a top manager. Mourinho's a top manager. He'd be instead of buying a £10 million player in January, chuck out Mourinho for his wages and get him in because he's probably better than a £10 million signing in your squad.
Yeah. Simple so yeah, I think it'd have to be that. Well, that's all we can hope for right now is that sooner rather than later we make the change and it starts to reap dividends sooner rather than later. That's all we can hope for right now, and I am confident we'll get out of trouble if we do that and quite quickly. But like you say, it's all on the board now to make the decision.
You won't get relegated. It's like, nah, you're far too good to go down. I know that's a bit of a myth, and some teams have done it. You won't get relegated.
I don't think we will, but I think the fact of the matter is whether we get relegated or not, it's about whether we can salvage something from this season. Maybe if we sack Silva after the West Ham game, and we go into the next round of the cup with a different manager, we might go through. Yeah. If Silva's still in charge for that next game, we might be out the cup. That's the big difference. Is like, when do you pull the trigger quickly enough to actually salvage something from your season?
Well, you'd have thought an international break was the right time to do it, but
we all thought that, and we all hoped that'd be the case. But apparently, he was going to get to the next break. But hopefully, we're still in the cup by then, because that could be
horrific. It's a long time.
Because the optimism will be drained from the fan base if we're out of that cup and we have to rebuild again.
I think it's already out of you, to be honest with you. That optimism, I think, is already gone.
Well, of course, I think as far as you guys are concerned, you've lost to Oxford, didn't you? So you've already got to put your eggs in one basket as far as a trophy's concerned this season, and you've got to go harder at the cup because we certainly have to.
Pellegrini's a league manager. He speaks about how he achieved European football with Malaga and that, which is commendable. But I think maybe I don't know. I don't think he understands the importance of a cup to West Ham. Actually, I don't think he gets it. And
we've had that issue as well. I think Ronald Koeman was the same at Everton, where he completely disregarded the cups.
Yes, I think Pellegrini just. It comes from above, though. Our board won't say to Pellegrini, you can finish 15th if you want, as long as you win a cup, because the board is £2 million a position. The board is saying to Pellegrini, you need to finish 8th or something in order to sustain cash flow. Yeah, so it's a difficult one. It's that balance in football. We don't worry about the money. I mean, you as football fans, we don't care where the money comes from and stuff. But we want
to see success. We want to see a cup.
We want hope. We want dreams.
I can speak for both of us there, where what you'd want to see more than anything is a cup.
Yeah, you want hopes, dreams, and memories as a football fan. That's all you want. You don't want to worry about 7th or 8th, £2 million extra in the kitty. That's not our job.
I'm not going to enjoy it any better if we finish a position higher at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, we're running out of time, so we're just going to wrap up with a little final question. What's your favourite film and why?
Braveheart. Why would it not be Braveheart?
Spoken like a true Scot.
Quite, exactly. Yeah, it's predictable. My favourite is Braveheart.
Fantastic. All right, well, it's been a pleasure to speak to you, Gio. Thanks for coming on the show. Everton versus West Ham coming up, guys. It's the early kickoff on Saturday, so make sure you're ready to tune into that and tune into all the great content that's going to be coming your way in the build-up to that and beyond. So thank you, guys. Give this video a comment, a like, and a subscribe. And thanks, guys, for watching on the Toffee Blues.